Hello there, world. How are you doing? It's Miguel. I think that's how I start every video cast that I've got with my name. Well, I'm accustomed to doing that. So, welcome. All right, today is the 31st of August, and the time, well, it's just after 9 o'clock p.m. And I wanted to take some time out and sit with you and enjoy your company. Hi, Em. Welcome. So, wow, what a day today was. It is the beginning of the Labor Day weekend. So, I've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. And so I'm really reveling and having a lot of extra time to do chores and get things done. And that's what I've been doing all day today. I had the pleasure of sleeping in, and then I cleaned house. I washed dishes, certainly got ready, uh, cleaned the car, cleaned both my cars. I was able to get some WD 40 out and tackle all the squeaks and all the hinges and all the doors and my vehicles and here in the house. And that felt really good. And I also vacuumed the floors and just in general straightened things up. Went to the grocery store, got new sources for food and things like that. And so got a little exercise walking around. So I'm really pleased with my day and how it's gone and how relaxing I've been, how relaxed it's been. So I'm looking forward to spending some time with you, which I reserve for the end of the day today. So let's get at it. As I like to start every one of my videos, I want to read a passage from the Peaceful Living book. And let's see, tomorrow is the 1st of September, so let's give that a try. So, the 1st of September. Happy 1st of September. So, here's what it says. It says, "We don't get to know people when they come to us. We must go to them to find out what they are like." Goethe. We don't get to know people. We don't get to know people when they come to us. We must go to them to find out what they are like. I really like that quote because to me it's about taking the initiative, stepping forward, and expressing interest in another person and how important that is. That sounds like a real priority to Goethe, you know. And just don't rely on other people coming to us to tell us what they're about, but reach out to them. In a way, my video today is me reaching out to you, and so I think that makes sense. I appreciate that energy and that direction. Let's see the rest of the passage. This is a contribution by Mary McKenzie. What she has to say about that quote. She says, "Focus on connecting. I think my early friends had incredible stamina. I had built such a high wall around my heart that they had to chip away at to connect with me. I greatly appreciated their attempts to connect. But now the people in my life no longer have to make this effort. I receive the connection I desire because I focus on connecting with people. When I see someone in pain, I make myself available to them. When I see someone in the store whom I know, I go out of my way to greet them. I express appreciation to people when they have contributed to my life, and I let them know when I wish things had happened differently. I'm present, loving, and available for a connection, Not because I think other people want it, although I believe they do, but because I want it. I want to live in a world where people care for one another. So I actively create that world. If you want to get to know someone, let her know you. If you want someone to connect with you, connect with her. Take the first step and you will change your life. Be aware today of opportunities to create what you want by living it. Boy, I really like that sentiment. You know, I want to live in a caring, thoughtful world. People who are eager to give acts of kindness and acts of consideration to one another. And, you know, I think the first step in living in a world like that is to take action in that direction. Yeah, yeah, that sounds really right. I have an intuitive sense that, you know, that's a right approach because think about the opposite, where you're basically sitting around waiting for people to connect with you. You know, you know, I think I know one or two people who use that as a general policy, and I can tell from what they've told me about their experience that it's not working. It's not working for them. I think, yeah, yeah. I think they're looking for connection. They're wanting connection, but uh, and they praise connection when it happens, if it happens, when they can uh, sort of recognize it happening to them. Um, but what a way to what kind of way to live is that? You know, I agree with Mary McKenzie. You know, if you want to connect with someone, go out, reach out, express yourself, express a little bit of yourself to them, and you will receive in the exchange. Yeah, yeah. I really think that's the way to go. So let me think. What's next on my agenda? See, I've got my clipboard here. I did a little planning for this video. I'm getting better and better. Every video I make gets better and better. Ooh, I'm just figuring out like, oh yeah, I could set it over there on that chair. All right. So one question I wanted to ask you was, can you name your heroes? I'm curious if you happen to have any heroes, and whether if you do, can you readily talk about them, say their names? Um, I have heroes. Maybe I'll share my heroes with you. I wonder if you would be interested in knowing who my heroes are. I'd be happy to tell you. I've got a lot of heroes. One of my premier heroes is Dr. Albert Ellis. Dr. Albert Ellis is a psychologist, now dead, who I guess he worked in the 1960s and 1970s promoting rational emotive behavioral therapy, or EBT, which was the precursor to cognitive behavioral therapy. And I remember I've been interested in psychology for a long time. My first college class that I ever took when I was a junior in high school was Psychology 101, and I received an A in the course. And I was like, I was like 17 years old, maybe 16 years old when I took that class. So anyway, I learned about Albert Ellis and rational emotive behavioral therapy, and I read a lot of his books, Albert Ellis's books, in college, particularly in my freshman and sophomore years. I absolutely loved his books, his writing style. Now, what did he have to say in a nutshell? Well, it was just a precursor to CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapy. So I won't necessarily go into it too much, but he talked about a lot of thinking errors that people have, a lot of sloppy thinking that people engage in that creates emotional pain. And I really appreciated his matter-of-fact approach and really, his sort of direct approach when it came to psychotherapy with his clients. I don't know. I just enjoyed his books and this content. Who else I really liked? Aaron T. Beck. Aaron T. Beck is a hero of mine. He was essentially the originator of cognitive behavioral therapy, and I won't really go into it any more than that, but I really admire and appreciate his contributions to the field of psychology. Who else? It's funny, I'm just realizing that a lot of my heroes are psychologists. So, Carl Rogers happens to be right now my premier hero. Um, Carl Rogers was famous for his non directive therapy, uh, and as it relates to he had ideas about how to engage in relationship with people. He talked about genuineness in relationships and how important it was to provide um, what did he call it? He's unconditional positive regard. You know what? To me, these are building blocks in a life well lived, in a meaningful life, in an enjoyable life. And I'm really grateful to Carl Rogers, for publishing his work, his client centered therapy work. And let me tell you, it's been life changing for me. Really, transformative. And yeah, right now, he's one of my heroes, my superlative hero at the moment. Let's see, who else has been a hero to me? I'm just realizing Nathaniel Branden, big hero to me. He wrote a book called The Six Pillars of Self-Esteem. I read this when I was in high school, or maybe it wasn't in high school. I think I probably read The Psychology of Self-Esteem when I was in high school. And he also had a few other books. And man, I tell you, I really ought to go back to and read his books again. I think I'd get a lot out of them. I loved his writing style. I loved his thinking process. You know, I love a lot about Nathaniel Branden. I remember reading uh, his biography, which was written by his wife, Barbara Branden. And let me tell you, at the end of that book, I was crying. I really related strongly and connected really strongly to Nathaniel Branden. And he may even still be alive, although I almost doubt it. He lived in Los Angeles. I might want to go check him out, see if he's still on the circuit, on the personal growth circuit. Uh, it's been a while since he's published a book. And if he did, I would probably have known about it and read about it and read it. So anyway, let's see who else. I wrote a list here. Did I get everybody? Yeah. Those are 5 of my heroes. And you know what? They are all. Oh, there's one that wasn't a psychologist. Albert Einstein. I admire Albert Einstein. My background is physics. I have a bachelor's degree in physics, and I've learned a lot of physics. Uh, I learned a lot of physics 20 years ago. Don't ask me to recreate a lot of that now because I'm out of practice. But I still admire Albert Einstein for his genius and his peacefulness. One of the things I admire Albert Einstein for was his pacifism. Um, you know, I loved his anti-war stance. Yes, his theory went into developing, parts of his theory went into developing nuclear weapon technology. And I admire that he sought to, um, you know, cool political tension at the time and be an advocate for peace. There's some other things that I connect with him about too, and that is uh, you know, his focus on objective reality, which was relative, and also appreciate his. He had a family life that I don't think a lot of people recognize, and I see a lot of myself in his family life. So, Albert Einstein, a hero of mine for certain. So those are my 5 heroes. Those are heroes that I think about on a regular basis. They inspire me to be a better person. A lot of these heroes that I have are advocates of certain values that I appreciate, being a hard worker, insightful, thoughtful, and kind, peaceful, you know, and that's part of the reason I enjoy them. I enjoy reading their work and just being continually reminded of um, what they advocated in life. Yeah. So, okay. So, one thing I wanted to talk about is, ta-da! I got a new magazine. I have a subscription to Psychology Today. I know, big surprise. It's funny that a person like me who basically works in this in a high-tech field as an engineer, who's been an engineer for 21 years, spends a lot of his time, maybe even most of his time, thinking about psychology. you know, Sometimes I wonder if it would have been better if I would have been a psychologist. And at times I think about it all the time, whether I ought to go into work as a clinical therapist, clinical psychologist, or a therapist, like a marriage and family therapist. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Just now, thinking about that marriage and family therapy idea made me laugh because of uh, how odd my current marriage and family relations are right now. So maybe that's one strike against me being a marriage and family therapist. Um, but who knows? Sometimes I think that people who are struggle the most with relationships, I guess, make the best MFTs because they've been transformed by their experiences, right? Okay, so let's get back to the Psychology Today. I just got this new uh, magazine in the mail yesterday, I think. I haven't even had a chance to look at it. Except I did scroll through it, and I saw this quote that I really liked that I wanted to pass on. I love this quote, and I'm not sure if it has a lot of meaning out of context. But let's give it a try. So the quote is, "People strongly care about love, connection, and belonging. They care about contributing to the well-being of others." I love that quote because for me it affirms what I've always thought is true about people. We are a social species. And I think it's true that people strongly care about love. People talk about love. Whether a person is happy or not, often turns on their relationships and particularly their love relationships. Although it also turns, whether they're feeling good or bad, it also turns on their friendships. People strongly care about love, connection, and belonging. Totally. They totally care about connection. I know I care about connection. I want to connect all the time. All the time with anybody and everyone who's willing to connect with me. That probably is just my own personality. I tend to be, some people have called me as a non-shy introvert, but I actually think of myself as an extrovert. Although I can play both roles. I can be basically introverted and extroverted at the drop of the hat. I think I can play both roles really easily. So, um, so people strongly care about love, connection, and belonging. Yeah, they definitely care about belonging. You know what? It's getting really hot in here. Let me go bring a window. I'll close the window. I'll open the window. All right. Whew. Yeah, let me tell you, it's getting super hot in here. Dang. Whew. All right, let's roll up these sleeves. Dang, it is hot. All right, I did close the windows before I started recording because I wanted to ensure that there weren't any extraneous sounds coming in from the outside, so that we could have some silence as we had a conversation. But it's gotten way too hot in here. Okay, so getting back to this idea, I think that people strongly care about belonging. Yeah. Think of all this talk about in today's political world about our country versus their country, our race versus other people's race. This is just the political conversation that's going on. I'm actually really not participating in it, in this dialogue, the political dialogue that's going on. But when it comes to issues like that, they're really talking about belonging, belonging to states, belonging to groups of people, certain characteristics. Uh, it's all about belonging. People are, and it's kind of funny. People wear shirts with labels on their chest, or they wear certain kinds of watches, or they wear Levi's jeans or whatever. All of that is signaling about what group they belong in. Whether they're in an in group or an out group, it's all about which group people belong to. In fact, that's how people categorize themselves, right? They're always, oh yeah, he's one of us or he's not one of us. It's about belonging, whether whether I belong with this group or that group. People are just, it's all about belonging. All this talk is belonging. Everything people wear, oh yeah, look at this, I'm wearing a preppy shirt. I belong with the college prep group. It's all about belonging. And yeah, people strongly care about love, connection, and belonging. They care about contributing to the well being of others. Well, that's also true. I think people who are the happiest not only receive love that they want, but they're also able to give love, to give the love that they want, to give love to the people who they love. Yeah, a lot about a lot of people want relationships not merely to receive love from others, but so that they can express love that's within them to another person. Uh, in fact, really, I would guess that that's the same with me. For me, it's not as important that I receive love from others. What's important to me is that I have a sense of contributing to another person's well being, that I get the satisfaction. For me, it's about the satisfaction of giving to another person. And for me, what I receive in exchange is just their emotional response to my generosity or to my act of giving, my act of kindness. Yeah. That idea really stimulates me. It's about getting the reaction of others when I am able to please them or give them, express kindness to them or respect. It's that feeds me. That juices me up. That's and you know what? I think that a lot of people are like that. It's about giving. I know. It's a very selfish kind of giving in the sense that I am enjoying the giving to another. It's almost counterintuitive, but I think it is more true than I think how people commonly think about relationships, which is, oh yeah, in a relationship I'll just receive the love from another person, from my lover. And that's why I want a relationship. I'm not sure that that's the case. I think people want loving relationships because they want to be able to give to another person and experience the enjoyment that the other person expresses after receiving what they've had to give. Yeah, yeah, that feels right. All right, let's see what else is going on. Oh, so I noticed that I'm kind of running out of time. And before I go, I want to mention that I'm thinking hard about my video presentation, my speaking skills, my presentation as it relates to my dress and how it relates to my backgrounds, my backdrops. you might notice this is a new backdrop. And I have just purchased some new video equipment. And so I'm getting excited about camera and lighting and audio. And so I am really excited about what the future holds regarding the quality of my video presentations. And anyway, so I'm really happy that you're coming along with on this journey with me, Emily. And so I am psyched. You know, the future's so bright. I've got to wear shades. So anyway, thank you for sharing this time with me, Emily. I want to express my love to you about how I cherish what we have together, about how I want to preserve what we have together. It's valuable to me. You are important to me. You know, I love you just the way you are. And that's true. And I'm committed to our relationship. Absolutely committed to our relationship, preserving it, protecting it, building it, making it stronger, and, you know, watching it evolve over time, you know, as we just become more connected and in tune, more calibrated with one another. That sounds juicy. I love it. Anyway, I love you, girl. Talk to you later.